Hi everyone, it's Alison in my violin studio, and today we're going to do Minuet 3. This is a practice tape. Minuet 3 is this is the Bach Minuet towards the end of the first volume of the Suzuki. So Minuet number 3 is maybe a little bit easier than number 2. Number 2 is quite challenging, and I hope you got through that with all the string crossings and the finger retentions, which was kind of important for that. So number 3, what we have in here that does have to be done properly is you've got these same fingers rolling over strings all the time. Okay, you should know by now, don't lift your finger and replace it, because we end up with very unmusical bits in the middle there, which nobody's going to pay money to hear that. Even the aunts and uncles will get tired. So leave your finger on the string and roll over. And hopefully by now you've picked up that the left arm is the agency responsible for putting your fingers in the right spot, right? Don't let your wrist move. It's not that it's rigid, but it's just that it has no business moving. And don't let your fingers stretch around. Those are two no-nos. Simply reposition your arm. It's like a chicken on a spit. When the arm comes forward, the fingertips go back. So you see, then all you have to do is just place the finger. And notice how the wrist doesn't move. Well, it moved through space, but there's no muscle movement at the wrist. And all you do is then place your fingers, okay? So that's pretty important stuff. Now, procedurally, do your bow, put your bow to the right string, and then pivot forward the arm. Okay, and when you get the hang of it, it can kind of happen at the same time. Which is kind of a cool thing. Yeah, it's kind of like dancing. Okay, the other thing is, and then the finger does not come up. So it's touching on one spot of your finger. Where's the camera? And when you go over to the other string, it's going to hit just the edge of the finger, right? Which maybe doesn't feel like the right spot, but it doesn't matter because you're not going to stay there very long. So roll over, and now I'm just catching this note with just the side of my third finger. That's a slur. And then 2 short notes. Whole bow. Now, this is critical. Stop your bow. Okay, don't start going over before you stop your bow, because we don't want to hear the crossing noise. It's like a movie. You know, they end one scene, they yell cut, and then the next scene opens and everybody's already in the room and they've changed their clothes. We don't want to watch the crew and the cameras changing their costumes and getting to the next set, right? That's some stuff you keep hidden. Stop the bow. Roll. And of course, we don't really talk about coming back, because when your arm is up in the air, it's just gravity. It's going to be comfortable. So of course it drops the minute you have a chance to go to a higher string. Going on. Roll. Stop. Up again. Right? So you want half the bow and half the bow. And make sure you really stop those. Like, not just... No. Real stops. Okay. Now everybody rolls back down. Place a 4. Or you could do open. I don't care. I think if you've got other things to think about, leave the 4 for later. Slur. So this was a long whole bow, and 2 notes slurred is going to be the same. Short, whole bow. You can actually on these. I don't think it's cheating. You can actually kind of stop your bow halfway through that note value, because you have to stop your bow and you've got to pivot over and get ready for the next note. And the next note has to happen on time, which means that the time to do all of that stage management has to be stolen from somewhere. So you're going to steal it from the first note. Here. Good. Now we relax back to the A string, pull back for a low 2. Slur. Long. Slur. Roll forward. High 2. that's fun. So this is bar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Come back. Open A. Now we've got 2 short bows, or 2 short notes on the A string. Excuse me, there's 1 on the A. So you get the middle of the bow, and you roll back, place 3. Back at the frog, roll back to the A. Now you should still have your 3rd finger hanging on. Come in with your 1st finger for that little grace note, and as you come in, as you place the 1, let go. And that's a grace note, an arpeggiato. We want it in this case to be before the beat. So I'm going to count the rhythm. Listen. 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it comes before. Again, we're stealing the time for that from the previous note. Listen. Yeah, I cut that G a little bit short and I stole some time from my grace note. Going on. And then, how do you do a grace note? Well, put your 1st finger down and you start your bow going. And then you lift your 1st finger and keep the bow going. Okay? It's only complicated when you look at the page and your mind freaks out and says, how am I going to do that? Actually, it's very easy. Okay, so don't look at the page. You're playing by heart, right? I know that kids usually are being taught by heart, and adults tend to always look at the page. So if you're an adult and you always look at the page, I know you need to look at the page to learn it, but you've got to memorize it because you only know it when you can play it without the music. Because your brain and your ears relate differently. Going on, measure 9. Again, roll over. Actually, this is the same. Okay, now this is measure 15. This is different than measure 7 was. It's pretty easy. I've got an open A, so I can roll my arm forward a little bit ahead of time, and I'm ready for that note that rolls over to the G. Now, we need a circle. I didn't write that one in. So don't hang on to this note to the bitter end. 1 and 2 and 3 and, because then your eyes turn the corner and you say, oh no, I need to beat the frog. And then you end up taking time that doesn't exist. Because in this piece, we can't add time in, right? There are pieces where you can kind of do dramatic pauses and add time. But in a lot of pieces, particularly traditional ones, kind of once you get the rhythm going, your breathing spaces within the piece still have to fit within, if you've got the metronome going, you got to meet your first beat obligations. It's like your rent payment the first of the month. Okay, so here's first beat on the second half of the piece. Oh, I didn't finish saying that. So on the long note before that, so this is bar 16, and 2 and 3 and do a circle and come back. And now you're not going to come back to the D string in this case, you're going to come back to the E string. And you might need to adjust your arm, and you're probably going to have to, if you see, you can lean in the side of your hand, and that might help with your 4th finger placement. So this is just string crossing difficulties, primarily. So it's long, long, short, short, long, roll over, long, short, short, long, long, short, short. Okay, yeah. So if you're kind of doing the rolling back and forth like this, you should be good for that. Going on, bar 21. Circle, and we come in with the piano. Roll over. So yes, when you have those rollers, you have to steal a little bit of time there. So I'm kind of playing 8th notes, right? Except those don't have to be. I can kind of make them sound as opposed to, so I'm not advertising what I'm doing. And let the ring of the violin make it sound like you're actually playing a full note value. Or 4. And roll. Short. That last one, if the first time through, I didn't take the repeats. In this piece, you always take the repeats. It's not a very long piece. It's kind of like, you know what all the palaces in Europe look like. There's like a big middle part, and then there's wings on either side, and there's towers on either side, and more wings. And if you kind of only have the wings on one side, not the other, it looks lopsided. And basically, music has a structure, and specifically when you talk about classical music, that you're referring to a classical structure where there's balance, although this is a little bit earlier than what we would call a classical music period, but the thing has balance to it. And if you start leaving out all the repeats, it's like leaving out all of the the pretty wings in a beautiful architecture. Of course, some architecture is designed to be surprising, but this is a minuet from the Baroque period, so you don't want to get crazy. But your last note on the last time, your second time through, 1 and 2. Try and come off and keep the ringing in your violin. The first time, 1 and 2 and circle and back, right? So, okay, that's about it for that piece. I hope you have fun with it. See you soon. Bye.